Hey everyone, today we have a PB-650 maybe? Not really sure, it's kind of broken. Over here it says it's a 63.3 cc engine, so yeah, let's say 650. I'll have to look at it later. A couple things I noticed was wrong. It does run. It doesn't appear to shut down though. You do have to choke it in order to turn it off, which is kind of weird because this came out of it. That to me looks like it's already been choked. It would kind of make sense because it wasn't running very good at all. Fuel lines are in there, and yeah, the cover for the air filter housing is broken, so that's not good. We might have to order one, or if I might have another one, I'm not sure. I think I might have a newer version. It kind of looks like it's the same. Hoping it's at least similar enough where we can use it. One other thing is the pull cord is not retracting all the way, so we have to check that out. That is something I kind of want to look into first, so let's go ahead and do that. Immediately I see a problem. Well, not problem, just different than I was expecting. These are Phillips I'm taking out. I've never known Echo to use a Phillips screw. At least not there. All that seems to be fine, so not too worried about that. I mean, it looks like it's just I mean, it seems like it's running fine, just needs to be wound up tighter. Okay. Well, let's sync. So the right way to do this would be take out the center bolt. The whole thing will just come out with the spring. Hopefully it doesn't unwind everywhere. Rewind it, put it back, should be good. The problem is the spring can pop out, and that's not very difficult to resolve, but it's also not something I want to have to resolve. The other possibilities, kind of unlikely, but we can take this, just kind of hold it like that, and then wind it up a little extra, but we have to kind of, it might work. We have to make sure that it doesn't like rewind on itself except reverse, if that makes any sense, by keeping the line on the side. Okay, this is going to be the hard part. It's binding up a little bit. There we go. This would help if this plastic wasn't like super sharp. But then where would the fun be in that, you know? Ow. Okay. Now, hopefully. Perfect. I'm just going to pull on it a couple times, make sure it stays that way. But I think we're pretty much set on that one. Here is the broken part. Now right here is cracked. This whole piece kind of wants to go in. You can get like a plastic, I don't want to say welding kit, but I guess it kind of is like a plastic welding kit, or even like a soldering iron. Granted, you probably never want to use that soldering iron again to solder, but it can work. Basically just kind of melt it back together. I'm in kind of a dilemma. I don't know if I want to buy a new one, which is probably the better idea, not gonna lie, or do I just kind of half fix it? So we're gonna kind of go over some options. Here's a dilemma. I don't have a great filter for this. This one is not bad. It's used, but it's definitely not bad, and it fits. The old one obviously is trash. Now when I looked this up, it was about $25, but it also came with the corresponding piece that fits on the carburetor, so it's a whole assembly. Okay, braking. Apparently, as soon as I said that, I went back and looked at it, and for whatever reason, I found one that's on sale from $25 down to like $12.99. It says Echo on it. Looks legit to me. Maybe it's not. It says genuine. Who knows? But either way, it's a housing, and it would be substantially better than if I were just to tape this and then melt this together. It would look a whole lot nicer too. That's probably what it's going to have to happen. My first thought was the handle is having a hard time connecting. Maybe it's getting corroded. I don't know. But then I looked over here, and you know, in general, Echo doesn't just put random wires for decoration. That's probably a problem. So I think that is our kill issue right there. I don't understand why this happens, but it seems like when this type of machinery is like shoved in the back of a truck routinely, if it's kind of getting hung up on something, the natural and wrong response is to take your boot and then kick it to make sure it fits. And I think maybe something like that happened and just ripped out the wire. I mean, who else? So what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna take off this back cover. I'm gonna disconnect the spark plug boot. It's just stuck on there. I mean, that plug has been there for a while. And there should be probably like 4 or 5 screws holding it on. So I'm gonna take those out, and then we'll take a look and see what we have. Took the cover off. And I don't know if you can see it, but there is a cable. Oh, you have to take my word, but there is a cable. And this cable, or line, both has a cut in it right there. But it's only through the rubber shielding, or plastic shielding. And it's also missing the end. So it's going to look for one of these ends. So I'm going to probably get that crimped up, get it connected. There is one more line that apparently, or from what I can gather, at least I can't see one, has no connector. It just goes directly to the switch. So the switch, that line, that I don't know if that one goes to the coil or the one that's solid goes to the ground, but one of them goes to the ground, then the line goes to the switch. When the ground's met or close, so the ground is actually able to connect, it kills a spark. Right now it's not able to kill anything because it can't connect to ground. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that, and we'll see what we can do about the rest. So you can't really see it, but reconnected the kill to the wire and put a new connector on it. Also put a piece of shrink tubing over the broken shielding. Here's a little tip: when you're doing, any type of small wiring like this type of stripper is a lifesaver. Saves so much time. This is the alternative. Personally not a fan. I mean, yeah, there's 1,000 alternatives, but this is the one I was using before. This is pretty much foolproof as long as it's clean. It has actually been a couple days later. Not since the last video. It's been a couple minutes since that last section, but I have actually purchased the air cover and got it all taken care of. Well, we're gonna do that next, but we at least can install it. For the cover though, you want to remove the spark plug. I'm gonna be putting it on, so just imagine doing this the opposite way. Remove the spark plug because you'll never be able to really get it out. Do not tighten those entirely yet. There's one down there. There's one over here, which is just out of view of the camera, but it's really easy to see. subsequent screws you can tighten all the way. Once you get two, it's pretty much good to go. There's one over here and there's one on the bottom. And after that, what we're going to do is we're going to put the spark plug back in, then probably connect the pull starter, because that also needs to go on, and then we'll put the air filter cover on. When I ordered the cover, I ordered a new filter. The filter, however, has not gotten here yet, and the cover has. There's a reason for that, though. The cover was shipped USPS, and the filter, for whatever reason, was shipped FedEx. So I will be lucky if I see that in, a year. Nah, that's probably being too generous. So now, but this cover does kind of feel a little Chinesey. But it is a cover, and it will work. It's just a cover, and it's a whole lot better than the alternative of me just taping the hole. And for, I think it was like 12 bucks. It's not that bad. Make sure that's nice and tight. I guess I don't have the right bit in. That's nice and tight. Well, let's double check that. Let's actually get the correct bit here and see. I think this is the right size. Yes. It could have been tighter. You want this to be tight, because if it's loose, that is a vacuum leak waiting to happen. And you'll go down the road of checking everything and seals and replacing seals, going through all that hassle, and all it was a leak. But even then, this filter isn't horrible. Wouldn't be, I mean, if I was buying this machine, I wouldn't really care, to be honest. I mean, technically, if I were to just take my air compressor, it probably could be blown out very easily and would look new. But I'm not going to do that. If I say there's a new air filter, there is a new air filter. Once you go down that road, start cutting corners, who knows what other stuff you'll do. Now, will someone say this is cutting a corner buying the knockoff piece? I would argue no. I would argue this is an old machine that needed a part, and this is a cheaper option that I would rather have. Now remember, this did run. We have a new air filter housing, newish air filter. Kill wire has been restored, and let's see if it actually will turn off. We could just pull the engine over with the spark plug out with the switch set to off to check, but that's not nearly as much fun. And it's cold outside, so this will be a cold start. And it hasn't ran for a couple days either. I like to give it a couple primes. I think that fuel line is going to have to be replaced, but we'll take care of that later. I think that's choke. Luckily, we have the old one here, so choke is up, which is what it's at. Okay, kill wire works. Turns off. It's cold, so it's not going to rub up very well, and the gas is kind of nasty, so that would make sense. So If you are having a problem with your machine not turning off, this is what I would do. First things first, check to see if everything's connected. If the line is disconnected in any way, like we had today, sorry about that, I hit it. Anyway, disconnected in any way, it's not going to make a good ground, it's not going to make a full anything, it's just going to be dead. If everything is connected, check for corrosion on all the connectors. If it had the connectors like this one, make sure that there's no corrosion. The corrosion could be getting in the way of establishing that connection. Clean them up, try it again. That still doesn't work, check the switch. Make sure A, it's both working, and 2, it also doesn't have any corrosion. If it's broken, replace the switch. If it has corrosion, clean it up as best you can. Make sure there's solid metal or whatever your switch has. Replace it, try again. If that still does not work, you could potentially have a break in your wiring. Take a multimeter, strip off the ends, or if you have connectors, go to a clean connector. Take a multimeter, check for continuity. Continuity is the one that looks like a little horseshoe on your multimeter if you're not aware. If you have continuity, then really the final thing is it could be your coil. The grounding tab very well could be broken internally. You could try moving it around. You can, if you move it around, it seems very, very loose, but you find a place where it is connecting as a backyard fix or a emergency fix, you can get some epoxy or even tape. I would say epoxy is probably better. Epoxy it in the position where it is connected and it should run fine. You should definitely, however, replace that coil because it's just going to keep happening over and over and over again. If it's your machine, you don't care, that's fine. Go ahead and do that. If it's someone else's, no, you should not do that. But other than that, all we have to do is just get this to a new home. Okay, if you like what you see, keep watching, subscribe. Catch me in the next video. Have a good day.